Yeah, I'm Banks.
I'm Josh.
Odd
I'm
places.
Josh.
Hey, Josh. Odd places going viral. You're up.
So, tragedy or comedy and tragedy. What's its role? And I'm taking that from a sense of we're in a tragic situation right now, and there's still some comedy out there, and I think there's a place for comedy, but where is it, and when is it too much? Because
Wow.
I like to. I'm a funny guy. I like to push things into the humor realm. And how do I know when I go too far? Or is it possible to go too far with comedy inside of a tragedy?
Right, right. I see your point. I'm gonna tell you a story. I got a friend of mine, and she is light most of the time. Anytime that I delve into any, I don't want to say serious, a subject of like life, of like death, of like tragedy, she avoids it, and it goes to light. And I feel if you stay in this one area of lightness all the time, let's say, and I don't mean this, I mean in like what we think. If you want to only stay in the lightness and the happiness and joy, you can live there. The issue is, are you living a fulfilled life? And I don't want to judge it. I don't want to judge it. It's just that tragedy is part of life. Comedy is part of life. They're the mirror, not the mirror image, the opposite, the antithesis of each other, masks for theater. And this is our life. We live within tragedy and comedy. Now, when we're weighed down with more tragedy, I feel we need more comedy to get us back to that balance, to see it.
Okay.
Here's my argument for comedy. I think comedy is great. I love comedy. I used to be a stand-up comedian. Yesterday, I went through some old papers of jokes that I wrote that I sent off to sell, and I was just like, wow, that was pretty funny. Well, I mean, a couple of them. I'll be posting them.
Do you remember any of them? Oh, I love jokes.
I can't think of, they're in a paper over there. We'll see them. I'll do a comedy special. So I was reading those, and I was really drawn to, like, we do need comedy now. To live a fulfilled life, we need both parts of it.
So, and I agree with you 100%. And yet what I'm seeing is a lot of people are taking offense to the comedy because of the gravity of the situation, or because of the denial they're in about what's happening. And I guess it's just a shame. So maybe if my thing's more of a commentary about it, I agree with you though. I want to bring more comedy and bring things back into balance, because I don't know that they're opposites necessarily, but they're complements, like yin and yang.
Okay, right. So you say they're in denial. They're in denial of what? Comedy? Or they're in denial of, you're saying some people are in denial of what's going on in the world?
Some people are in denial of what's actually happening, like actual real facts, things that actually have happened, documented, proven, like this is what has happened. And some people are still in denial about that. So when you make a joke about it, or you make a joke about the current situation, and not out of being trying to be mean or shameful or anything like that, just lighten the mood, it's hard for them to process.
Right.
So I just wanted to throw it out there as, can there be too much? Is it appropriate?
Okay. I'm
Where do we go?
gonna take a jab. I think some of these people, and I was there. I was totally there. Some of these people, for self-preservation, need to stay in this denial state. We
Okay.
need to stay in this instinctual state of denial so that we can get through the day, so I can get through the next moment, the next moment, the next moment. We're living in a fearful state. That's what we're living right now. It's like, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying some people are in this fearful state.
Right.
So how do you jar them? Is comedy the way to jar them? I mean, I love comedy.
if it gets a rise out of them, if it gets them thinking, if it gets them even offended to the point where they're like, if it just evokes an emotion and gets them to break the routine, like you're saying, to just break that denial for a second, I think it's worth it.
Okay.
Plus, it's a hell of a lot of fun because it's comedy. So.
Well, well, here's the thing. If the person does not want to laugh, the person is not going to laugh. If the person wants to stay in a state of, I mean, I did comedy, stand-up comedy for 5 years, and I realized at the end of 5 years, I was not a good comedian, a stand-up comedian. I realized that.
That was pretty funny. That was good. See, you're right there. You just disproved yourself. That was awesome.
It took me 5 years to realize that. I'm very slow, very, very slow comedian. The point is, if they do not want to laugh, they're not going to laugh. They're just,
That's okay. But here's the thing. If they respond, that means it got to them. That means it opened something up. That means something hit them or resonated with them.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch of people that probably can hear the comedy that won't respond. And you're right. They won't laugh. They won't respond. They're dead. Okay. But the ones that do, I almost feel like that's a good thing. No matter how they respond, whether they throw eggs at you or they're laughing, I think any response is a good response.
All right, Josh, here we go. I'm going to toss it right at you. Is this comedy? Is this comedy for them or is it for you?
That's a good question. So if I had to be fully honest, it's definitely comedy for me. Yeah, I guess that's the question. Is it comedy for them? So for me, comedy is not the ends. It's not the end. Comedy is not the end all. It's just to be funny. Comedy is a way to deliver a message, just like song or music or rap or writing a book. So for me, comedy is the vehicle only. It's not the end all, be all. So I use comedy, what I think is funny, but maybe it's not, but it really is to deliver a message. I never just do comedy for the sake of, like I said, just to be a butthole or just to piss people off. That's never the point. So good question. If it doesn't end up being funny, then it's still a message, perhaps.
Yeah. I'll bring it back to a place where I am, and that is I am a comedian, a children's comedian. That's how I used to make a living. And about a year ago, I realized, and I've been doing this for 25 years. A year ago, I realized it was no longer about me. It took me a long, like I said, I'm a very slow comedian. And it's all about, I think it's all about them. And if I can do whatever to get them to laugh, to get them in a space of laughter, which is a very heightened state of being, I feel for that, whatever, 45 minutes, at 43 minutes that I'm performing, I feel that I can bring them for 43 minutes, they are somewhere else. They're out of wherever they are living in chaos or fear or unclarity or clarity. So yeah, it's all for them.
Yeah, and so I guess laughter is two things. It's a reaction, but it's also a state of being, right? Or whatever that laughter invokes. It invokes a state of being that's a very heightened state. So if I get a reaction from someone, though, if I get any reaction, I think that heightens that's something, that there's something there. That means they're still responsive. They're not fully shut down or shut off.
Okay, even if you get a negative response from them, even if it's like, my God, it's a negative, shut up, don't say that, don't do that, what's happening in life, whatever the excuse or the reason, is it still worth it?
Is it still worth it?
Is it still worth it, even if it gets a negative response? Because you're after the comedy, you're after them to laugh.
So let me put this in I'm not but that's not the thing. I'm not after the comedy. I'm using comedy as the vehicle. but it's not the end all. It's not to make them laugh. And that's a very key distinction. But here, let me put this in different terms.
Okay.
When I was more deep into the financial industry, I was doing financial literacy for families. And I would sit down with them and I would teach them and help them create a financial plan, right? Now, if they turned around and said, I don't want your help, I'm not interested in protecting my family or saving money or any of this kind of stuff, does that make me wrong in delivering that message? If they say no, does that mean I was wrong in trying to help them understand how money works and how to put together a proper plan for their future? No, it doesn't. So their reaction was, to me, irrelevant compared to my message and my mission to provide that access to that information. So I kind of look at this as the same way. I have a message. I have a responsibility to share it, and comedy is one of my vehicles, I suppose. Even though I may or may not be funny, it's still going to be a vehicle.
You make me laugh. So, all right. I'm Banks.
I'm Josh.
This is Odd
Places.
Radio, going viral.
Right on.